The cardboard box slipped from my sweat-slick hands, crashing to the hardwood floor of my new apartment with a thud that echoed like a gunshot in the empty space. Out spilled my life in fragments, dog-eared novels on architecture and regret, a half-empty bottle of bourbon from too many nights alone, and that faded photo of me and my ex, her smile now a ghost haunting the edges. Across the room, Luna paused mid-lift, her strong arms cradling another box labeled Kitchen Nightmares, and in that split second, our eyes locked, the air thickening with something neither of us had named yet. She set the box down slow, like she was handling fragile glass, and wiped her forehead with the back of her hand, leaving a smudge of dust on her sun-kissed skin. "Whoa, Nova. You okay?" That looked heavy. Her voice was low, laced with that easy California drawl that made everything sound like an invitation. I nodded, but my throat tightened. Words stuck somewhere between gratitude and the sudden ache of being seen. We'd only met 2 days ago, when she knocked on my door with a six-pack and an offer to help unload the truck. Her pickup parked crooked in the alley behind our building in the sleepy corner of Portland, Oregon. Now here she was, in my half-unpacked chaos, turning what should have been a mundane Saturday into the pivot point of everything. I bent to gather the mess, fingers brushing the photo, and felt her kneel beside me, close enough that I caught the faint scent of vanilla and fresh ground coffee clinging to her. "Let me," she murmured, her hand grazing mine as she picked up the bourbon. Our skin touched. Electric. And I jerked back like I'd been burned, heart slamming against my ribs. She didn't pull away. Instead, she held my gaze, those green eyes steady, searching. And then, without a word, she stood, tugged her tank top over her head in one fluid motion, letting it drop to the floor. Bare shoulders, the curve of her collarbone, lace hugging her like a secret. My breath hitched, the room spinning slow. I stared, mouth dry, the world narrowing to the rise and fall of her chest, the way sunlight slanted through the blinds and painted golden stripes across her skin. "Luna." "What?" My voice cracked. Barely a whisper. But she just smiled, soft and knowing, stepping closer until the heat of her body cut through the morning chill. "It's hot as hell in here, Nova. And you've been hauling boxes like you're punishing yourself. Thought I'd cool things down. Or heat them up. Your call." Her words hung there, playful but edged with something raw, vulnerable. Like she'd just laid her cards on the table and was waiting for me to fold or call. My pulse thundered in my ears, a wild drumbeat drowning out the distant hum of traffic on Burnside Street. Part of me wanted to laugh it off, chalk it up to the awkwardness of new neighbors. But another part, the one I'd buried under blueprints and late-night sketches, recognized the pull. The hunger. I'd come to Portland running from Seattle. From a breakup that left me hollowed out, questioning if love was just another structure I couldn't build right. And now this woman, with her easy strength and quiet fire, was stripping away my defenses, one layer at a time. She reached for the hem of my blouse then, fingers light, questioning. "Can I?" I swallowed hard, nodding before my brain caught up. And she peeled it off slow, her touch lingering on my waist, sending shivers racing up my spine. We stood there, half-bared in the clutter of my new life, breath sinking in the quiet. Her hand cupped my cheek, thumb tracing my jaw, and I leaned into it, eyes fluttering shut. "I've been watching you since you pulled up," she confessed, voice husky. "The way you bite your lip when you're frustrated. It's killing me." Our lips met then, tentative at first, a brush that ignited like dry tinder. I tasted salt and sweetness, her tongue coaxing mine with a gentleness that belied the fire building between us. My hands found her hips, pulling her flush against me, and she sighed into my mouth, a sound that vibrated through my bones. We stumbled back against the wall, boxes forgotten, the world outside fading to a blur. Her fingers tangled in my hair, tugging just enough to make me gasp, and I arched into her, every nerve alight. But as quickly as it surged, doubt crept in, a cold whisper amid the heat. Who was I to dive headfirst into this? I pulled back, chest heaving, eyes searching hers. "Wait. I don't even know you." Luna's expression softened, no trace of offense, just understanding pooling in those green depths. She stepped back, giving me space, but didn't cover up. "Fair enough. I'm Luna Reyes. 32. Barista by day. Amateur stargazer by night. Grew up in the valley. Bounced around the west coast till I landed here. And you? Nova Hale? Beyond the boxes and the bourbon? I laughed. Shaky. Wrapping my arms around myself. 28. Architect. Fresh off a disaster in Seattle. Trying to rebuild. Literally. We dressed then. Slow and deliberate. The air still charged but tempered now with words. She helped me unpack the rest of the kitchen. Our conversation weaving through the mundane, favorite dive bars in the Pearl District. The best hiking trails up in Forest Park. The way rain turns Portland into a watercolor dream. By noon, the space felt less like a stranger's and more like home, with her laughter echoing off the exposed brick walls. That night, as thunder rumbled over the Willamette River, I lay awake in my new bed. Sheets tangled. Replaying the strip. The kiss. Her sigh. My body hummed with unfinished business. But my mind raced ahead. Sketching out what-ifs in the dark. What if this was just a moving day fling? A spark that fizzled in the gray drizzle? Or worse? What if it wasn't? And I let it burn me again? I rolled over, staring at the ceiling fan's lazy spin, and let out a long breath. Tomorrow, I'd face her over coffee. Tomorrow, I'd decide if I was ready to let someone in. The next morning dawned crisp. Leaves skittering across the sidewalk like confetti from a half-forgotten party. I spotted Luna in the shared courtyard, watering the community herb garden with a battered tin can. Her hair loose and wild in the breeze. She looked up as I approached. That smile breaking slow. Like sunrise over the Cascades. Morning. Neighbor. Sleep okay? I nodded, handing her a mug of drip from my ancient machine. Like a rock. You. She took a sip. Eyes crinkling. Dreamed of boxes. And you. Heat flushed my cheeks. And I looked away. Toward the chain-link fence rattling in the wind. Listen. About yesterday. But she cut me off gently, setting the mug down. No rush. Nova. I'm not going anywhere. But if you want. There's this little spot in Alberta Arts District. Street food. Live music tonight. Come with? I hesitated. The old walls rising instinctive. But her gaze held no pressure. Just open invitation. Yeah. I'd like that. The day blurred into work calls from my laptop. Sketching elevations for a eco-housing project that felt worlds away from the ache in my chest. By evening, we'd wandered the buzzing street fair. Fairy lights strung like stars against the twilight. The air thick with sizzling tacos and indie folk strumming guitars. Luna's hand brushed mine as we shared a plate of elotes. Corn kernels bursting sweet and spicy on my tongue. Tell me something real, she said, leaning close to be heard over the crowd. I thought of the scar on my knee from a childhood fall. The way my mom's laugh could light up a storm. But instead, I whispered, I build things to last. But people? They always seem to crumble on me. Her fingers laced through mine then. Firm and warm. Not all of us. We danced later. Awkward at first in the makeshift mosh of bodies. Her hips swaying against mine to a rhythm that felt like fate. Back at my place. The kiss reignited. Deeper now. Hands exploring with purpose. She traced the lines of my tattoos. Faint ink of city skylines on my ribs. Murmuring approval. Beautiful. Like you. We tumbled to the couch. Clothes shedding like old skin. Her mouth hot on my neck. My thighs. I gasped her name. Fingers digging into her back as waves built and crashed. Leaving us breathless. Entwined. Afterward. In the quiet. She rested her head on my chest. Heartbeat syncing with mine. Stay, I murmured. Surprising myself. She did. Until dawn painted the room pink. Weeks melted into a rhythm. Easy as the Columbia River's flow. Mornings. She'd slip out early for her shift at the corner cafe. Leaving notes on my fridge, fuel up. Sketch something wild today. I'd find her there later. Apron dusted with flour. Comping me lattes with foam hearts. Evenings. We'd hike the Wildwood Trail. Boots crunching needles. Sharing stories under canopy greens. She talked of her abuela's recipes. The stars she'd chase as a kid in Fresno fields. I confessed the blueprints I'd burned after the breakup. Designs too perfect for a love that wasn't. But cracks showed. Subtle at first. A cancelled dinner when my firm demanded overtime on a high-rise downtown. Her quiet withdrawal after a nightmare woke me. Her body tense beside mine. Just old ghosts, she'd say. But her eyes said more. One rainy afternoon, as sheets pelted the windows, I found her on the fire escape, staring at the downpour. "What's eating you, Luna?" She turned, rain streaking her face like tears. "You. This. It's too good, Nova. And I'm scared I'll fuck it up." I pulled her inside, wrapping us in a blanket, our knees touching on the rug. "Me too. But we're not them. We're us." That night, we talked till the storm broke. Vulnerability spilling like the Willamette at flood. She admitted the ex who'd left her for stability. A corporate suit who couldn't handle her artist soul. I shared the blueprints I'd salvaged. Half-finished dreams of sustainable homes for folks like us. Overlooked and resilient. By morning, the fear lingered. But so did the trust. Fragile threads strengthening. Summer crept in. Humid and golden. Pulling us south on a whim. We drove her truck down I-5. Windows down. Radio blasting Fleetwood Mac. Toward the redwoods in Northern California. Stops blurred, a roadside diner in Eugene with pie that tasted like home. A midnight beach bonfire near Crescent City where waves whispered secrets. Under the stars, she stripped again. Not bold this time, but reverent. Pulling me into the surf. Saltwater lapped our skin. Her laughter mingling with the crash. And we made love on the sand. Urgent and tender. The universe vast above us. Back in Portland, reality nipped at our heels. My project hit snags. Endless revisions that chained me to my drafting table. Luna's cafe buzzed with a new manager. Shifts stretching long. Distance grew in stolen moments. Arguments simmering over texts left unread. One night, after a double shift, she showed up soaked. Eyes red. "I can't do this halfway, Nova. Feels like we're drifting." My heart clenched. The room closing in. "I'm trying. God. I'm trying." We fought then. Words sharp as splintered glass. Accusations flying, too busy. Too guarded. Too much like before. She stormed out. Door slamming like thunder. Leaving me in the echo. I paced the apartment. Ghosts rising. The photo from that first box mocking me from the shelf. Hours ticked by. Rain resuming its dirge. When she returned at dawn. Soaked again. We collided in the doorway. Apologies tumbling. "Don't leave," I begged. Voice breaking. "I won't," she promised. Pulling me close. From there, we rebuilt deliberate. Date nights carved from calendars. Her sketching constellations while I pored over plans. A weekend in the Oregon coast dunes. Kites soaring like freed worries. Her hand in mine during a gallery opening in the Pearl. Where her amateur photos of urban wildflowers hung. Raw and real. Pride Month bloomed. Rainbows draping the streets. And we marched hand in hand. Her voice joining chants. Mine swelling with pride I'd long suppressed. But life? That unrelenting architect. Drafted twists. My firm offered a lead on a project in San Francisco. 6 months. Views of the bay but oceans from her. The call came mid-harvest festival. Cider sweet on our tongues amid hay bales and fiddles. "It's a chance," I said later. Over cooling pasta in her kitchen. Luna's fork stilled. Face paling. "A chance to what?" "Start over without me." Hurt laced her words. And mine cracked in response. "No. To build something bigger. For us." She walked out to the balcony. City lights twinkling like distant hopes. I followed. Arms around her from behind. "I love you, Luna. That's the foundation." The words slipped out. Unplanned. True. She turned. Tears glistening. "I love you too. But love's not enough if we're apart." We wait at nights on end. Pros and cons like elevations on paper. In the end, compromise, remote consults. Monthly flights. Her visiting with her camera. Capturing Golden Gate fog for my inspiration. The move south was bittersweet. Truck loaded again. But this time with her beside me. Portland shrank in the rearview. A chapter closing soft. San Francisco welcomed with foghorns and steep hills. Our tiny mission district flat echoing with laughter. She commuted weekends. Barista gigs sporadic. Her true work in the darkroom. Developing prints of us, tangled sheets. Trail dust. Starlit sands. Months in. Doubt whispered again. Her absence is stretching. My days blurring in concrete and caffeine. A call home. Her voice strained, cafes closing. Economy bite. Panic flickered. Come here. Full time. But she hesitated. My roots? Nova. Family. The stars I know. Fracture lines appeared. Subtle shifts in tone. Silence is growing. Winter hit hard. Rains turning to sleet across the bay. I sketched alone. Lines jagged. Mirroring the ache. She arrived for Christmas. Bundled in wool. Arms full of tamales from her mom. We decorated a Charlie Brown tree. Ornaments clinking like toasts to endurance. That night, under twinkling lights, she knelt by the hearth. Marry me? Not now. But when we're ready. Build forever with me. Tears blurred my yes. And we sealed it slow. Bodies and souls merging in firelight glow. Spring thawed the chill. Her decision solid, a transfer to a Castro cafe. Our lives intertwining permanent. We hiked Muir Woods. Redwood's ancient witnesses. Her hand in mine promising growth. Years layered like sedimentary rock. Solidifying. My firm thrived. Green builds dotting skylines. Luna's photography bloomed. Exhibits in Soma galleries. Images of queer resilience selling to collectors who saw their stories reflected. We adopted a rescue mutt. Bella. Her barks filling our home with chaos and joy. One autumn eve. Back in Portland for a retrospective. We stood on that old fire escape. City humming below. Rain pattered soft. But we were dry under shared umbrella. Remember the boxes, she teased. Nuzzling my neck. I laughed. Pulling her close. How could I forget? You stripped my world bare. She kissed me then. Deep and sure. The kind that echoes. In that moment, I saw it all, the structures we'd built. Not of steel and glass. But of size and second chances. Vulnerabilities voiced in the quiet. Love wasn't flawless blueprint, it was the weathered patina. The crack that lets light in. And in her arms? Heart steady now. I knew we'd weather every storm. The drive south from Portland felt like unraveling a tightly wound spool. Mile markers ticking off the distance between what was and what might be. Luna's truck hummed steady on the interstate. Her playlist shuffling through old soul tunes that wrapped around us like a worn quilt. I traced patterns on the window fog. Sketches of bridges spanning unseen gaps. While she drummed fingers on the wheel. Glancing my way with that half-smile that always tugged at something deep in my gut. Penny for your thoughts. Architect. Her voice cut through the road noise. Warm but probing. Like she could sense the blueprints in my head shifting foundations. I turned. Meeting her eyes. Green flecked with gold in the slanting sun. Just wondering if San Francisco's got room for two dreamers. Or if the fog'll swallow us whole. She reached over. Squeezing my knee. Thumb circling slow. Fog clears. Nova. And we've got each other. That's the view. Her touch grounded me. Chasing shadows. But doubt lingered. A low hum beneath the engine's growl. We'd left Portland in a whirlwind. My job offer too shiny to ignore. Her promise to follow a bridge we'd cross later. Now. With the Siskiyous rising ahead. Later felt immediate. Pressing. We hit the city limits as dusk bled purple over the bay. Golden Gate a silhouette against the haze. The flat we'd sublet was a shoebox in the Mission. Walls painted sunflower yellow. Windows framing murals of Aztec warriors and rainbow flags fluttering defiant. Boxes stacked again. But this time lighter. Laced with her touch, a potted succulent from her windowsill. Dog-eared poetry by Audre Lorde. Unpacking turned playful. Her tossing socks at my head. Me retaliating with balled-up tease. Laughter bouncing off the high ceilings. Catch, she'd say. And I'd miss on purpose. Pulling her down into the mess. Our bodies tangling amid tissue paper and tape. That first night. We christened the space slow. Candles flickering on milk crates. Her mouth mapping my collarbone while rain pattered the fire escape. Home, she breathed against my skin. And I believed it. Arching into her like a question answered. Mornings after. She'd brew coffee strong as her will. Pouring 2 mugs while I scrolled emails. Deadlines looming like storm clouds. Don't let them own you, she'd murmur. Kissing my temple before heading to temp shifts at cafes. Scouting permanent spots. My days dissolved into the firm's glass tower. Drafting sustainable retrofits for quake-prone Victorians. Lines precise but my mind wandering to her. Lunch breaks. I'd wander Valencia Street. Grabbing empanadas from Taquerias where salsa burned like desire. Evenings. She'd wait with takeout and tales of quirky customers, the drag queen with latte art demands. The poet spilling verses over cortados. We'd eat cross-legged on the futon. Feet entwined. Sharing bites and breaths. But the city's pulse quickened cracks. Traffic choked commutes. Her interviews fizzling into maybes. One night. After a fruitless day. She slumped against the door. Apron discarded like shed skin. Another no. They want baristas with vibes, not experience. I pulled her close. Rubbing circles on her back. Their loss. You're a whole damn universe. She melted into me. But tension coiled. Unspoken. Weekends. We escaped to the Presidio. Trails winding through cypress groves where fog muffled the world. She'd snap photos. Lens capturing dew-kissed ferns and my profile lost in thought. Smile, she'd coax. And I'd fake it till real. Her shutter click sealing moments. Picnics on bluffs overlooking seals barking at Alcatraz. Her head in my lap. Fingers toying with my hair. Tell me about the project, she'd say. And I'd ramble on passive solar angles. Her questions drawing me out. Making genius feel shared. Yet. Distance nod. Her Portland ties tugging like undertow. Calls to her mom stretched long. Voices overlapping in Spanish warmth I envied. Abuela asks when we're visiting, she'd relay. Eyes distant. I'd nod. Sketching flight paths in my planner. But budget's bit tight. My salary stretched thin on rent and dreams. A weekend up north. We drove back for her nephew's birthday. Truck loaded with my maquette models as gifts. Fresno's flat heat enveloped us. Family sprawling across backyard lawns. Tamales steaming. Kids shrieking chase. Her sister eyed me curious. Pulling Luna aside in whispers. Later. Over flan. Her dad clapped my shoulder. You build tall things? Build good with my girl too. His English fractured but intent clear. And I swallowed hard. Bowing silent. That night? In her childhood room posters peeling. We loved quiet. Her gasps muffled in pillows. Bodies remembering roots. Return to the city brought sharper edges. My boss piled deadlines. Mock-ups due dawn. Luna's temp gig soured. Manager's leers crossing lines. I'm done, she declared one evening. Slamming her bag down. Feels like starting over every shift. I looked up from my tablet. Bleary. Then quit. We'll figure it. But frustration flared. Easy for you to say. Your world's blueprints and bonuses. Mine's scraping by. Words escalated. Barbs flying unintended. I'm hustling too. Luna. For us. She paced. Arms crossed. Us? Feels like you're building solo. And I'm just the view. Silence fell heavy. Rain lashing windows like accusations. She grabbed her jacket. Door clicking shut behind. I sat frozen. Heart pounding regret. The maquette on the table mocking my steady hands. Hours crawled. Me brewing tea gone cold. Texts unsent. Midnight. Keys rattled. Her silhouette soaked in the hall light. I'm sorry, we chorused. Colliding in hugs fierce. Me too. Scared of losing you in this grind. Tears mixed with rain on her cheeks. And we stripped layers literal and not. Skin to skin on the rug. Apologies whispered in touches. Dawn found us curled. Her breath even. My resolve stealing, balanced the scales. From there? Shift subtle. I blocked calendar for her interviews. Role-playing barista banter till she laughed. She joined a photo co-op in the Castro. Darkroom sessions yielding prints of Bay Bridges at twilight. Sold at pop-ups. One evening. She burst in waving a check. First sale. Us. Framed in silver. Pride swelled. And we celebrated with wine on the roof. City sprawl glittering. Toasting to horizons. Spring unfurled. Cherry blossoms dusting sidewalks pink. We volunteered at a queer youth center. Me leading workshops on design dreams. Her facilitating story circles. Kids' eyes lit. Mirroring ours once. And in breaks. Her hand on my back whispered forever. A trip to Yosemite. Granite monoliths dwarfing us. We hiked Mist Trail. Spray soaking through. Her laughter echoing cascades. At Glacier Point. Sunset gilding half dome. She pulled a ring from her pack. Simple band etched with stars. Not proposal. Promise. When timing aligns. I slipped it on. Metal cool then warm. Kissing her fierce against the railing. Timings now. Night's intent. Zippers whispering. We explored unhurried. Her fingers painting galaxies on my thighs. My mouth charting her moans. Summer sizzled. Pride exploding in waves of color. We marched. Her camera clicking. My arm linked tight. After parties and house beats and body paint. Sweat slick dances till dawn. But under glitter. Weariness showed, her commute brutal. My overtime creeping. Need a change, she admitted over brunch burritos. Avocado creamy as hope. Closer gig? Fate listened. A cafe in No Valley posted. Owner seeking passion over polish. Her interview aced. Apron donned permanent. We're rooting, she texted. Photo of espresso foam rose. Relief flooded. And I surprised her post-shift with rooftop picnic. Cheeses and figs. Bay breeze carrying jazz from below. Fall deepened. Leaves turning bay rum. My project wrapped. Accolades rolling. But burnout loomed. Vacation, she decreed. Booking cabin in Big Sur. Cliffs plunging to Pacific roar. Drives wound hairpin. Her singing off-key to radio. Me navigating maps freckled with kisses. Cabin nestled pines. Fireplace crackling. We hiked purple trails. Her hand steady on a sense. One eve. Waves crashing below. She turned serious. Miss this. Us. Unplugged. I nodded. Throat tight. Me too. City's a beast. Over wine by fire. Confessions flowed, fears of stagnation. Dreams deferred. Want kids? Someday? Her question hung. Vulnerable. I paused. Envisioning tiny hands in mine. Crayon blueprints. Yeah. With you. Winter whispered in. Holidays blending families. Fresno for Thanksgiving. My Seattle kin zooming in. Toasts virtual but heartfelt. Christmas in the city. Tree trimmed with photo booth strips. Her gift a custom sketchpad bound in leather. Stars embossed. Mine, star chart of our first night. Framed. New Year dawned crisp. Resolutions scrawled joint, more trails. Less screens. Life layered steady. Her exhibits gaining buzz. My firm promoting eco-line. Bella joined us then. Mutt with floppy ears. Chaos and fur. Walks in Dolores Park. Her tugging leashes. Us stealing benches for kisses. But storms brew quiet. A call from Portland, old cafe reopening. Head barista slot. Tempted? I asked. Masking ache. She weighed it. Eyes on horizon. Only if we go together. Discussion stretched. My career tethered. Her heart split. Build here first, I urged. Then branch. Resolution came gradual. Compromise crown. She stayed. But we plotted sabbatical. Van life across Southwest. Cameras and sketchpads packed. Spring bloomed promise. And in that? Love's true structure, flexible beams. Yielding to winds. Standing tall. The van's engine growled to life under a New Mexico dawn. Pink streaks bleeding across the Sangre de Cristo mountains like watercolor washes I'd once dreamed of capturing in concrete. Luna adjusted the rearview. Her reflection catching the light. Green eyes sparkling with that mix of mischief and resolve that had hooked me from day one. Ready for the road. Love? No deadlines. Just us devils and diners. I leaned over from the passenger seat. Stealing a kiss that tasted of sagebrush and last night's campfire coffee. Born ready. As long as you're navigating my heart. We'd traded the city's clamor for this wander. A 3-month sabbatical carved from accrued leave and her flexible shifts. The van a converted relic we'd tricked out with solar panels and a fold-down bed. My drafting tools strapped beside her camera bag. Portland to Frisco had been our proving ground. But this loop through the Southwest promised reinvention. Chasing sunsets to mend the microfractures time had etched. Bella snoozed in the back. Paws twitching dreams. Oblivious to the miles unspooling. First stop. Taos Pueblo. Adobe homes rising eternal from red earth. Guides weaving tales of ancestors who'd built without mortar. Just will and mud. Luna's lens devoured it. Clicks echoing my own internal sketches, structures breathing with the land. Not conquering it. Like us, she murmured. Arm around my waist as we wandered the blue cornfields. Layered. Enduring. Evening found us at a hot spring soak. Steam rising like prayers. Her body pressed to mine in mineral warmth. Fingers tracing lazy eights on my thigh. Miss this freedom, she sighed. Head on my shoulder. City makes me forget how small worries are. I kissed her temple. Water lapping gentle. Then let's collect more of this. Nights blurred into star fields. Van parked on BLM land. Her telescope pulling down Milky Way spills while I journaled elevations inspired by canyon curves. Breakfasts of huevos rancheros at roadside stands. Salsa sharp as her wit. Laughter shared over plates chipped from use. Santa Fe's galleries called next. Her portfolio under arm. Mine sketches rolled tight. A curator paused at her print of us in Big Sur fog. Entwined silhouettes against crashing surf. Intimate. Raw. Show us more. Sales trickled. Enough for gas and gratitude. And we celebrated with margaritas on the plaza. Mariachi strings vibrating air thick with possibility. You're blooming, I told her. Lime tart on my tongue. She grinned, pulling me to dance under lantern glow. We both are. But roads wind. And so did doubts. In Sedona's vortexes. Red rock spires humming energy. She grew quiet during a hike. Boots scuffing vortex trails. Feel it, she asked. Hand outstretched. I took it. But the buzz in my veins felt more like unease than enlightenment. What's stirring? Later. Around a solo guitar campfire. She confessed. Wondering if San Francisco's are forever. Or just a chapter. My fork paused mid-bite of foil packet trout. Meaning? She poked embers. Sparks rising. Roots pull. Family. Space to breathe without horns blaring. Heart stuttered. I set my plate down. We talked this. Compromise. Remember? Her eyes met mine. Soft but steadfast. I know. But seeing these places makes me crave build from scratch. Somewhere green? Not gray. Conversation stretched into night. Voices low against cricket chorus. Unpacking fears like the van's cargo net. Me. Tethered to career climbs, her. To Earth's quiet pulse. Dawn brought no answers. Just coffee and a vow, keep moving. Let landscape speak. Utah's arches bowed next. Delicate arch a stone rainbow at sunset. Us climbing slick rock hand in hand. Sweat mingling. At base. She pulled me down. Lips urgent against sandstone grit. Here. Now. We loved fierce. Hidden in slot canyons. Her gasps echoing off walls ancient. My nails raking her back like carving initials in time. Afterward. Tangled in cooling shadows. She whispered. Whatever we choose. It's you. Relief washed. But sediment settled. Questions layering. Zion's narrows tested us literal. Waiting chest-deep chills. Her laughter freezing mid-breath. Holy shit. Nova. This water's plotting murder. I hauled her closer. Warmth shared. Emerging to cottonwood shade. Picnic of cheese and jerky. We planned hypothetical, a plot in Oregon wine country. My firm remote. Her studio in Barnwood. Visions danced. But reality nipped, leases. Loans. Leaps. Monument Valley's mittens loomed mythic. Navajo guides sharing lore over fry bread. Sweet and crisp. Her camera captured buttes at golden hour. Mine mind mapped Ecolodge's blending tradition. A storm rolled sudden. Thunder cracking like heartbreak. Us dashing to van. Soaked and shrieking. Huddled inside. Lightning forking sky. She turned to me. Face illuminated. Scared? Of storms? Nah. Of us stalling? Yeah. Honesty bridged. And we made promises in the downpour, explore options. No rushing. Grand Canyon's rim dropped infinite. Colorado River a turquoise vein far below. Mule ride down tested nerves. Her grip white-knuckled on my waist. At river's edge. Rafting whitewater. Screams blending with rapids roar. Adrenaline forged us tighter. Campfire tales with river rats. Stars wheel overhead. Her head on my lap. Fingers combing hair. This life's possible, she mused. Balanced. I nodded. But sleep evaded. Canyon winds whispering what ifs. California's coast reclaimed us. Highway 1 curving dramatic. Elephant seals bellowing on beaches. Big Sur cabin redux. But deeper now. Hikes to McWay Falls. Turquoise cascade to sand. One afternoon. Tide pooling. Her bent over anemones waving fragile. I watched. Love swelling tidal. Luna. She looked up. Water droplets beating lashes. Yeah? Marry me. For real. Wherever we land. Her whoop echoed coves. Tackle hug knocking us to pebbles. Kisses salty and sure. Yes. God. Yes. Ring exchanged later. Simple gold from a caramel jeweler. Etched with canyon lines. Celebrations spanned diners to dunes. Her sketches of our future home, open kitchen for tamales. Studio loft for lenses and lines. Return to Frisco loomed. Van groaning under dust and dreams. City swallowed gentle. Flat welcoming with mail piles and Bella's joyous frenzy. Work resumed paced. Her exhibit booked solid. But the road's gift lingered, clarity. We hunted listings. Oregon enclaves calling. My firm opened to hybrid. Winter wrapped us cozy. Holidays hybrid, Fresno flights. Seattle screens. Tree strung with road souvenirs. New Year's Eve on Twin Peaks. City bowl glittering. Her toast, to foundations flexible. Fireworks burst. Mirroring heartbursts. Spring sprouted action. Offer accepted, lead architect in Portland's satellite office. Her cafe chain expanding north. Packing commenced joyful. Boxes labeled, next chapter. Drive north reversed. But forward. Bella's head out window. Tongues lolling. Portland greeted changed. Our building's courtyard herbs thriving untended. New place, craftsman bungalow in Hawthorne. Yard for garden. Rooms for art. Unpacking danced. Her stripping playful again. Tank top tossed. Deja vu? I laughed. Pulling her down. Better sequel. Summer settled. Routines rooting, morning runs along river. Her shifts ending in joint suppers. My desk overlooking maples. Wedding plans bloomed casual, backyard vows. Family flying in. Queer choir singing Audrey. Exhibit of our journey prints sold out. Canyon kisses immortalized. Fall's harvest moon. We stood fire escape redux. Rings glinting. Built it, she said. Hand on belly hinting future. I kissed her slow. And more to come. Life's arch curved graceful. Lessons in yield and yield not. Love the truest span. The bungalow's backyard hummed with late summer bees. Lavender bowing heavy under their weight. As Luna adjusted the arch we'd cobbled from salvaged beams and wildflowers. Her hands steady but eyes betraying that flicker of nerves I'd learned to soothe with a touch. Looks perfect, I said. Coming up behind her. Arms circling waist. Chin on her shoulder. The Willamette's distant murmur blended with prep chatter filtering from the house, her sister's laughter sharp as she iced tamale trays. My cousin orchestrating playlist shuffles of soul and strings. Tomorrow's vows loomed like the friendliest horizon. But today, this eve of, felt sacred in its simmer. She leaned back into me. Vanilla scent mingling with earth. Yeah? No collapsing mid I do? Her tease masked the deeper whirl I felt too, the weight of forever. Light as air but profound. We'd built this patch of green from road-worn dreams. The van now garaged relic. Its miles etched in photo albums lining our shelves. Portland had reclaimed us softer. My office a short bike ride through rose-lined streets. Her cafe a block away where foam hearts greeted regulars like old lovers. Flashback tugged gentle as I watched her fuss a ribbon, that first strip in the moving clutter. Bold as a blueprint reveal. Heart racing then as now. We'd layered since. Conflicts like rebar strengthening, the road's what-ifs resolved in compromise. Her Fresno pulse balanced with bay echoes in our veins. Bella bounded over then. Leash in mouth. Demanding walk. And we obliged. Strolling the block to MT. Tabor's paths. Oaks whispering overhead. Remember Zion chills? She asked. Gravel crunching. I squeezed her hand. How could I forget? You clung like ivy. Laughter bubbled. Easing tension. And we paused at a bench. City sprawl below like a sketch come alive. Grateful, she murmured. Head on my shoulder. For the mess that led here. Me too. I thought. Tracing her knuckles. The ring's edge catching light. Gratitude swelled for the cracks, post-fight mends that deepened trust. Sabbatical storms that cleared skies. Reception prep ramped next morn. Sun gilding the yard gold. Guests trickled, her valley kin in embroidered blouses. My Seattle crew in flannel chic. Queer collective from the center we'd poured hearts into. Vows exchanged under arch. Words we'd penned separate then shared, mine on structures yielding to seasons. Hers on stars guiding through dark. Nova. You blueprint my wild, she said. Voice steady. Eyes wet. Luna. You lit the lines, I replied. Ring sliding home. Kiss ceiling amid cheers and petals. Feast followed. Tables groaning picnics, elotes grilled smoky. My mom's salmon gravlax. Pies from her abuela's hand. Toasts flowed. Her dad's fractured English melting hearts, you too. Like good earth. Grow strong. Dances spun barefoot on grass. Her in white linen swaying me to Coltrane slow. Breath sinking. Mrs. Hail Reyes, I whispered. Nuzzling neck. She shivered. Has ring to it. Honeymoon whispered coastal. But we chose homebound, cabin in the Cascades. No flights. Just forest hush. Drive wound fern choked. Her hand on my thigh. Radio soft. Cabin nestled lake edge. Dock creaking welcome. Days dissolved lazy, canoe paddles slicing mirror water. Her sketches of loons calling. My dips in chill waves. Emerging to her towel-wrapped embrace. Nights. Fire pit crackles. Esmore's sticky sweet. Stories spinning futures, kiddo adoptions. Maybe. Tiny architects with her eye for light. One eve. Stars pricking velvet. She turned serious by flames. Think about it? Family. I nodded. Poking embers. Yeah. Surrogate? Foster? Open. Her smile bloomed. Ours? However. Lovemaking followed tender. Bodies familiar yet new. Her sighs charting constellations on my skin. Return stirred autumn crisp. Leaves flaming park paths. Work beckoned gentle, my eco-village pitch greenlit. Community builds for queer families. Her photos documenting dawn breaks. Cafe buzzed harvest specials. Pumpkin lattes foamed with leaves. Evenings. Kitchen dances over chopping boards. Her teaching masa needs. Me demoing quick breads. Winter blanketed soft. First snow dusting eves. Holidays hybrid peaked Fresno. Van loaded gifts. Bella shotgun. Family swelled. Her nephew toddling to us. Chubby hands claiming rings. Tio Nova, he babbled. And we melted. Visions sharpening. Back north. New Year's snowshoed Forest Park. Her tracks beside mine. Toasts with thermos cocoa, to branches. Spring unearthed plans, agency consults. Profiles penned hopeful. Summer's heat built momentum. Profiles matching stories that tugged. One profile lingered, a birth mom seeking stability. Creative souls. Meetings stretched Portland cafes. Her hand under table anchor. Fits, she whispered post-meet. Wait lists loomed long. But hope rooted. Fall's equinox. News cracked joyful, match solidified. Baby due winter. Prep frenzy, nursery painted sage. Crib assembled crooked laughed. Her belly swelled not. But ours with anticipation. Ultrasounds black-white miracles. Vinta poetia. January gale howling. Us pacing halls till cry pierced. Elena Reyes hail. Olive skin. Green-flecked eyes. Tiny fist clutching finger. Homecoming snowed gentle. Bella sniffing curious. Us cradling in rocker. Her lullaby Spanish soft. Years unfolded petal by petal. Elena's first steps wobbled garden paths. Her giggles chasing bees. My village rose earth-bermed. Families moving in. Her photos chronicling. Luna's book launched, Road to Roots, Journeys inked. Dedications to us three. Challenges crested natural, teething nights frayed. Work pulls tugged. But we bended. Date nights stolen. Her stripteases playful post-bedtime. Arguments flared toddler tired. But men's quicker. Apologies and hugs. One spring dawn. Elena 3. We picnicked riverbank. Her splashing puddles. Us watching. Hands clasped. Built good, Luna said. Echoing dad. I kissed her temple. Better than blueprints. Ages layered. Elena's school art echoing mine. Her star charts Luna's. Pride marches 3 strong. Rainbows tripled. Gallery shows family affairs. Critiques gentle. Twilight years whispered eventual. But vigor held, hikes slowed but shared. Van dusted for grandkid jaunts. On our anniversary. Fire escape perch. City evolved below. Elena's laughter from yard. We reflected. Heart still races, I murmured. Her hand in mine. She smiled. Eternal. And strips bare. Love's structure. Humanistic arch, flawed. Fierce. Forever resonant.